Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 14th day of August, 2023. Well, we still have smoke in the area, so I'm still a little, my throat's not doing that well here today. But it was clear last night and the night before, and we got to see the meteor shower. It peaked, I guess, on Saturday. But I think we saw more in the time we were out last night than we did the night before, so I don't know. Maybe it's just timing, but it's pretty cool. I love meteor showers. I love comets when you can see them in the sky. It's just amazing to me to be able to see all that when you're here on the ground, essentially, to look up and just see amazing things. We start the reading off with Ansus. This is the above side of the significator runes, the higher self side. Ansus is Odin's rune. It's about clarity. It's about eloquence. It's about higher awareness. But it's how we essentially it's spirit communication. It's divine message. It's divinity. So this is a very high vibratory rune from the Elder Futhark. Again, known as Odin's rune. It sort of gives that extra, oomph there. Extra power to it. So essentially, so far, we should be thinking that way. We should be thinking in terms of spirit communication with one another instead of ego communication. And looks like that a new path is going to open when we do that. We're on a new path of we've got Vaya here on the below side of things, on the Geomancy side. We have Vaya. Vaya and populace are the two complements there of one another, in the idea of either following your own path or setting your own course or making your choices independently of the influences of others. It could be something like that. As opposed to populace is going to be going along with the crowd, being a follower. So independence versus following. Very projective energy with Vaya, very receptive energy with populace. So you could see how that could be, they could be complements of one another. But with Vaya, you're making the intentional decision here with Vaya and Ansus to interact with others from a higher place. Interact with others from higher awareness, from the soul side of things, as opposed to the more reactive physical ego side of things, or personality side of things. So let me just shuffle just a little bit more here. I've already shuffled a bit already, but I like to do just a little bit more before I start pulling cards. I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck here and take the lower half. And from there, we'll go ahead and lay out 3 cards. Well, we have one from Cups, one from Pentacles, and one from Wands. And the one from Wands is the Knight of Wands. And so that's going to be, that's from the Court. All from the Minor Arcana, though. We don't have any major cards here in today's reading. We have, let's see, a 9 of Pentacles and an Ace of Cups. That gives us a 1 numerology. 9 and 1 is 10. 10 reduces to 1. Whenever you're doing reduction for numerology, you're going to add the number together if you've got a dual number. So in the case of 10, 1 and 0 equals 1. If it was 12, 1 and 2 would equal 3. So it would reduce to 3. But in this case, it's 1. 1 is about new beginnings. It implies an ending, but 9 is generally the endings. And so let's go ahead and, in fact, I'm going to move these cards here a little bit. I'm going to put the 9 first. Especially because nine in magic talks about endings and completion. I include that in the numerology. Usually you're looking at 9 as spirituality or generosity or the messenger or something like that. But for me, it also indicates endings or completion. So we bring to something is coming to an end in a sense, or there's something is culminated in something, and then with the ace, something new is going to begin. And then the knight's going to kind of define what that is, I think. So let's start with the 9. Here we see a woman of means, and I want this robe. I want that. I love that. And she's out there on the weekend. She's on a hunt. Maybe she's got her glove on and her falcon resting, sitting there on her wrist. It's the and the hunt has not begun because the bird is still wearing its little hood. And she's in a very abundant place. You see grapes growing around her. You see the house or castle here, if you will, in the distance. You see her hands resting on one of the coins here. She's very secure. She's very wealthy. She has all she needs. It's almost like this is the where she's come to in life. You see it also. Let's see. Another card. What's another card that's like that? Well, the Ten of Pentacles is also like that, where it's a passage of legacy, where the man's life not ending, but one period in his life is ending, and he's transferring that off to another. So there's that sense of transfer there. But here there's a sense of peace. You see it also with the Queen of Pentacles, where she's in her garden. It's just a beautiful card, and so is this one. You see also some balance, though. You see the two trees here that are like one another on either side. There's some balance that's been created here for her. She's not really she doesn't have any concerns. She's just having a really wonderful day out in her garden, getting ready for a hunt. So with Pentacles, though, that's the earth element, okay? With the Ace of Cups, cups is our emotions. Now, one would think that she's quite emotionally content and secure here, but maybe she's too comfortable, okay? Maybe she's gone as far as she goes, and now it's like, well, geez, this is all fun. This is nice. I can do all this. This is great. But, maybe there's something else. Maybe there's some desire for something more. So when you talk about the Ace of Cups, you're talking about the genesis of new emotions, new desire, new love, new compassion. The ace is always the genesis of. It's the beginning of. It's the first card in the major arcana suits in each one. It's always a hand reaching out from the clouds, holding something or offering something. You also see this in the Four of Cups, where a hand reaches out and the person's got his back up against the tree, and there's cups on the ground, and there's three on the ground, and he really can't see what he's like emotionally stuck. He can't really see what's being offered and all of that. But for the most part, where you see this same sort of thing is in the Ace cards. And here you see the Dove of Peace dropping a disc with a cross in it. And this is how I read that. It's the balance between when we invoke our spirit presence, our soul presence into form and incarnate into physical reality. We also balance the polarity within as we do that. And ideally, we should be here, if we were to come into this world with intention and the memory of who we are, which apparently we don't. Well, some do, but not everybody does. But instead, we sort of struggle down here toward the bottom, where that we believe all of this that we see around us is true and valid and real, instead of a projection of consciousness that can be changed with intention at any time. Right? But we don't see it that way. Everything is really fixed, and it's an interesting way of not seeing things properly, essentially. But that's what's happening here. We see 5 streams of water coming out of the cup. That's the pentagram, essentially, which is all elements and spirit in balance. And so in a very real way, the Ace of Cups begins in balance. Begins in balanced emotions, essentially. Balanced desire, balanced need, balanced compassion, balanced love that we express then to other people. Which with Ansus, that's really, where we need to be. But with that expresses the same thing, the divinity within. And then, if of all of the cards, I think the Ace of Cups does that. I think it expresses the divinity within. And so it aligns very, very well with Ansus. But there's a sense of newness here with the ace. The number 1 looks like Vaya, doesn't it? So there's a sense of new beginnings. So we're very comfortable in our life, but maybe something is urging us to do something else, is motivating. That's another thing with the water element. You're talking about motivation and adaptation and change. And so it seems to me that there's a change there. And with the dove of peace dropping that disc in there, I have to think that it's a higher level of spiritual awareness that's drawing us into another direction, that's motivating us to go in another direction. And in this case, to add something else to our lives, here we have the Knight of Wands on his own spiritual quest. He's an adventurous, passionate young man. Reminds me of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is just like that. My husband's a Sagittarius. And you see the almost, well, here you see the Ouroboros. It looks like the tail is in the salamander's mouth. Not quite finished on the journey because most of them are just curled around. They haven't yet bit onto their tails. But there's a sense of completion with that, and he's not quite ready to be complete yet. Now he's not in battle. His visor's up, so it's a very positive card. He's holding his staff. He's holding the reins. The horse is rearing up, all excited. Let's go. But how we know that it's a spiritual journey that he's taking is we see the 3 pyramids over there. He's in the Holy Land. So essentially, he's protective, he's action-oriented, he's about progress, he's about taking risk. And so and you're talking with the wands, the fire element. So that's really the spark of creativity. It's the spark of life. It's new opportunities. And so through higher awareness, maybe we set off on a spiritual journey. Maybe we set off on a spiritual path. We've achieved some things here. We've achieved some peace and security and comfort. And that's one phase of life. But it's like, life isn't over. Life isn't just about heading out into your garden and standing around with a bird on your wrist, waiting to go on some kind of a hunt. It's about what are you now going to do with your life? And maybe higher awareness is like pulling you in a direction onto a new path where you're able to, maybe there's compassion that you need to learn. Maybe there's extending yourself to others that you need to learn. And so you embark on certain things certain endeavors that will take you on another type of a path. That to me, it just with between Ansu's and the Ace of Cups and the Knight of Wands being in the Holy Land, to me, there's something spiritual that's happening. Maybe some spiritual awakening in you that is driving you to do something else. You've got one thing that what reminds me of is you have right now with the fires in Maui, Chef Jose Andres and what is it, the world something kitchen anyway. They go where they're needed. And it's to me, it's not a transactional thing. It's a spiritual thing. Now, I don't know this man. I don't know if he's always been this way. Maybe he grew up, maybe as a little kid, he was just a giver, and wanted to go out and help people. Maybe he's always been this way. But what if he wasn't? What if he's building his career, he's doing his thing, and then all of a sudden this collective need in the world arises where he can go make a difference? Now, I'm not saying that's what happened, but with him, like I say, he was probably like this as a kid. But the main thing is suddenly there was a shift, and suddenly he's cooking for everybody in need. And you see that with Doctors Without Borders, for example, or some of the other aid groups that are around that have this mission to go and help people. That could be something, but see, it's a higher level of awareness. That's spiritual awareness that's driving all of that. There's nothing in it for them other than feeling great that they were able to help. They're not, I mean, this is not something where it's lucrative. All right. These are people that literally want to serve others. They live in service to other people. If you look at it in terms of service to self and service to others, this is a very service to others type of a reading, because you're going out and you're exploring your own spirituality. You're taking the path that comes your way, that allows you to proceed along that type of resonance for yourself. And so I think that's what we're looking at here. This divinity within, this divine eloquence. Maybe it involves public speaking of some kind, where you're bringing that message to other people of service to others, and getting out of your own comfort zone to go and do something new. That literally is not going to, you're not going to receive anything for it other than maybe a thank you. That's it. It's all in service to other people. So maybe there was some service to self here. Now that got, that now she's fine. She's living in abundance. But there's something more that she wants, and I think that it's the natural transition to higher awareness, and being able to give to other people, and to do it selflessly in service to others. So it seems to me maybe that's a path that could be opening for you today, where you're beginning to realize that, especially when you start to see things that are happening around the world and this country that are just awful, and you feel compelled to do something. You feel compelled to step away from the life you're living and to start something else. So maybe you go volunteer. Maybe you go volunteer, at a soup kitchen. Maybe you go volunteer just helping other people. That could be something that this reading could apply to. But again, we begin in the divinity of Ansus and that higher awareness, that higher clarity. And then when we see the path open, we know what to do with that. We know that it's not about us, it's about other people in that regard. And what can we do to make their lives better and more secure? And what can we do to help, in other words? And so I think that, again, the spirituality throughout the whole reading, I mean, there's even spirituality, I suppose, in the Nine of Pentacles as well, but I think we really start to see it. We see that transition between the 9 and the 1 of something is, come to some culmination with the 9, and with the 1, with the ace, something new is beginning. And it's coming from a higher type of awareness, a soul level awareness. And again, we're going to take action. We're going to do something about that. And so a path can open that's spiritual in nature, that allows you to give to other people in a very selfless way. And I mean, mostly it's your time, it doesn't have to be money related. It can be your time that you give. That may be the most valuable thing you can give, just to have your presence in someone else's life who may be lonely, who may not have family around them, may need a little assistance. I mean, it could be something as simple as that, as offering a little help to a neighbor who can't do something for themselves, and you can help. And so it's like, hey, let me give you a hand with that. It's the random acts of kindness of letting somebody go ahead of you in a grocery line, because you don't have that, you've got a lot and they don't have much in their hands. It's like, here, you go before me, I'll wait. It's just little random acts of kindness that you can do for people that literally can change everything for them that day. It can make them feel, if they were feeling awful, it might totally change everything for them. That someone could just do something as simple as that literally is nothing, but yet it can mean everything. So and with all the stuff that's happening right now, all the weird stuff that's going on, and the fire in Maui. We went to Maui one time. We spent a week there, and we were not in the Lahaina area. We were just on the outskirts of it where we were staying, and we never went into the shops that were there. We passed them by as we were driving around, but we never stopped. We had other plans. We were doing other stuff, and I love to do that, and we never did it, and now I can't. And it's just to look at that is shocking. It's just shocking. And to know the impact this is having on people there. It's just, whatever people can do, either donate or whatever can do to help folks there needs to happen. And again, FEMA's there, all kinds of aid is coming in, all kinds of assistance. And so we're there for them, but it's going to take more. So all I'm saying is that, step outside the comfort zone, realize that you have a lot, and that you have more to give. And it's from a place of spirituality, not because you expect something in return for it, because that's not what this is about. And I don't think that's what this reading is about. I think that we're being given a choice these days, and for the last few years, where things are really starting to solidify in terms of service to self versus service to others. And I think it's very clear where people stand on each side of that. You either stand for service to self, or you're all about what you need and what you want and how's it going to benefit you, or you're following people that are using you that way. Or you're people that think for yourselves, and you see the need in other people, and you stand willing and ready to help, right? It's a very different mindset, and we're seeing that whole thing, that interesting balance being played out in the world today. People are left behind. People are not cared for. You can see that in different societies around the world. You can see where it's the rich that are the only ones that seem to matter, and everybody else is just struggling, and to even be recognized, to even be heard. We see it all over the place. And I think the reason for it is to give us an understanding of the ramifications of both, and to make us decide, well, who do we want to be? Do we want to be someone that's all caught up in our own stuff and not really care about the other people in our lives? Or do we want to be that person that cares about other people in our lives? It's really about that type of balance, and ideally we want to transmute the service to self stuff into service to others. That's where it needs to go, into that level of unity, into that level of harmony. That's the natural progression of why we're here, to remember who we are as souls, and to remember that we are aspects of the Creator personified into form for a short time to learn things. Well, what are we going to learn? And it seems to me like this reading is showing us that we may be all nice and comfy in our lives, but there's need out there that other people have that we might be able to do something about in some way, in some measure. And a path is always opening for that. I swear it. Every time you turn around, there's something that happens that it's like when Katrina happened and people were going down. They had the small boat convoys that were going down there to try to find people and rescue people. All over the country this happened. They went there because the need was so massive and people just wanted to help. And so it's almost like that's what you're seeing in this reading, where we have to be willing to come together in some unified form so that something better can happen as a result, and that's positive and filled with love and reciprocity and healing the division that exists. So I think this is a really positive way to start out a Monday, to start out the week. And just consider this. This is higher awareness talking. This is, recognizing that you can do more in life, that there's more left to do. And it can be on the level of giving to others in some way. Again, even if it's just your presence, even if it's just walking by and saying hi to a neighbor and stopping to visit for a few minutes. That could make that person's day. Maybe nobody ever talks to him. Maybe you're the only one. And so what if that's the case? You brighten someone's day. Isn't that a wonderful thing to do? So, again, I think that that's the Knight of Wands. He's out there on a quest, protecting, a spiritual quest, doing something that's selfless for other people. And I think that that's just a wonderful way to see the Knight of Wands. So, again, with the 6 numerology for the reading, or not 6 numerology, I'm sorry, we have 9 and 1 is 1, and then Ansu's is 4, so that'd be 5, wouldn't it be? Yeah, so we got 1 and Ansu's is 4, so that'd be 5, not 6. Why did I have 6 in my head? Well, probably because it's empathy and assistance to others and guidance. I'm thinking it's like the 6. But there's no numerology associated with the Knight, so with any of the court cards. And so we have, let's see, 4 with that, 5, and let's see, 9 and 1 is 9 and 1 is 10, so that's 1, and 4 is 5. So yeah, 5 is about protection. It's about bringing everything into balance. It's change. It's adaptation. Freedom versus restriction. And having the freedom to give, to be of service to other people. To feel like that's where you need to go. It's uplifting. It's never ending. It's this vast type of energetic experience. Whereas, thinking only about yourself, you just kind of, well, I won't say what I tell my husband, but anyway, it's like it's just a way of, because it's kind of it's not nice, but anyway, it's just the idea of being all about yourself, being very expansive and about other people. So anyway, something to think about for a Monday. I just think, again, this is a path that is constantly tapping us on the shoulder and saying, hey, what about this? Let go of the restriction, the self-imposed restrictions of racism and fear and sexism and misogyny and trying to control what everybody, because of your own personal beliefs. Now everyone else has to believe the way you do. That's a very restrictive, constrictive type of experience. And there's no reason for that. You can free yourself from that and be on the other side of the coin, on the Ansu side of things. So anyway, that's it. That's enough. And thanks for watching. I hope you'll click subscribe and come back. I do this on Mondays and Thursdays, so I hope you come back on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.